Hey everybody, Walker Fenton here. Thanks for joining today's TrackVia product webinar. If you're just catching a recording of this, we're doing these product webinars every 2 weeks. Visit trackvia.com/webinar for more information on the schedule or access to previous webinars. Before we get started, you're on the phone in a listen-only mode, so if you have questions, just send us a note through the ReadyTalk chat window, and we'll answer questions at the end. So today we are going to give you a quick intro into a new feature we've just released called application scripts. It's a very powerful feature that we're really excited to present to you guys, and so I'm excited to get started. So what are application scripts? Well, as the name describes, it's a script that's associated with your application, and it's actually attached to a table. And the script gets run or executed every time you move data in or out of a table. It's in, meaning coming in from a form, from mobile, from API, wherever. Because it's at the table level, it's deep down in the system, and it'll happen anytime there's data moving in and out of those tables. So it's very powerful that way. When might you use application scripts? So let's say you're taking data from a form and you want to update information in a parent table or another table, unrelated table. You can do that with application scripts. So if, let's say that you've got I'm going to show you an example later on of an application that's got jobs and tasks, and you say this task is complete and it's the last task in the list, so you want to update the job record to say that it's complete. You can do that with application scripts. You can do calculations or apply business logic. So calculations such as what you can do with your typical calculated fields, but even more so with application scripts, or apply some business logic, like if they choose this value in a drop-down, then perform this math or do this other thing over here. That kind of business logic you can do with application scripts. The third example here is automatically creating child records after the creation of a new parent record. So if you have, for example, a set of standard tasks that you want to add to every single job that you add to the system, you can do that with application scripts as well. And I think, don't quote me on this, but I think the next product webinar actually goes through batch record creation using application scripts in a couple of weeks. So I would check the calendar for that one. Or last but not least, you can do all of the above and all at the same time if you want. As I mentioned, it's a scripting language, so it's very, very powerful and very flexible. So we're psyched for you to try it out. Let me get to an example. Let's see, I've got a site over here. As I mentioned before, I've got a simple application that has some jobs and tasks associated with it. So I'm going to click on this treehouse build out, which will show me a little bit of job detail, who the owner is, what the status is, location, images, etc. And I've got a couple of tasks at the bottom here. I'm going to click on this task here that's called pour concrete. And so the first thing that I want to call your attention to is this task detail section. This task is specifically around pouring concrete for this build out, and you can see it's a construction type task, and the owner is Walker because Walker handles all of our construction tasks. If I change this to a client walkthrough, for example, which is a different type of task, not only will the type of task get changed, but the owner, we will automatically update the owner of that task based on this new task type. So it's kind of like if you've ever used our classic product, it's kind of like the auto link to parent. And in this case, we're doing an auto link to parent on a user field. You can do, of course, an auto link to parent on other tables if you want to. In this case, the example is just on that user field. So That's a great great capability. I also have, let me get back to my pour concrete, because I have a show hide rule on this form that'll pop some additional information about room construction that I want to show you. Application scripts, as I mentioned, can also do some math in terms of, you can do that with calculated fields, sure, but we've got to set up a little bit differently for this example, where I'm going to show you, I'm taking some length and width information about the room that we're pouring concrete into, and I'm calculating the room square footage based on this length and width. And so I'm doing that simple math with my application scripts. What's more is if this room square footage gets greater than 1,000, what I can also do is throw a really big bright error on the form to make sure that whoever's filling it out, and this of course is both on web and mobile, that there's some problem with the numbers that have been input. In this case, I've got a very custom error message that says over 1,000 square foot requires approval from the city, read a specific ordinance, etc. So auto link to parent, some simple calculations, some error checking. There's a lot that you can do with application scripts. I'll show you a little bit of the back end in a minute. And then the next thing I wanted, of course, I wanted to show you, let me go back to my demonstration, that it's not just the changes on the form that require or that do the execute the application scripts. You can make changes from anywhere, and these scripts will run. Here's the record that we were just editing in the form. You can see my room square footage is at 15,000 because my width is at 1,000. If I change this back down to 10, which will bring this room square footage below 1,000, you can see that it's been updated to 150, and my messages, my error messages have gone away because those scripts were in and the business logic was executed. And so it doesn't matter whether you're making changes in forms or views or grids or on mobile or via the API, those scripts will run every time. Great, so let's keep moving on. What language are the scripts written in? So application scripts are written in the Groovy programming language, which is a derivation of Java, although it's way simpler than writing Java. I'll show you a little later on in the webinar what it looks like. And how do I access application scripts? Well, because they're part of the table, because these scripts are attached to tables, then we've added a link within the table builder for the table that you're working on. So in the arrows here, I'm looking at the activities table, editing the activities table, and then you'll see the link in here. And what it looks like when you first enter the application scripts area, it's a blank slate, right? You've got the ability to click on this link to add a new script, and then once you've clicked that, then you have a cursor that shows up in the middle of a web page. But it's important to note that you have to choose the event, and the event tells you when the script is going to fire. So in this case, you can choose before insert, before update, after update, etc. And you can have one script per event. So you can have a total of 6 scripts attached to any table at any time. If you need to do multiple things, on before insert, then you just have to put in the business logic that says, well, if this is happening, then run this code. If you have something else going on, then skip that part. Whatever. You basically do that logic in the code so that you can have multiple things executing when you're in one script. So yeah, now once you've chosen your event, then you can write your script. This script is just some sample stuff. The green is prepended with a // and that just means it's a comment. And then the rest of it is stuff that was written. It's just a demo script. Let me show you an example of what it looks like. If I go back to my browser, and then I open up the job tasks table. I'm going to edit the job task table. And you can see that up at the top here I have my application scripts link. I'm going to click that, and that's going to take me to the script editor, which is attached to the job task table. And I've got two scripts here. One is called onUpdate, and it runs before a record is updated. And then I've got another one that's called afterUpdate, and it's an empty script basically. But you can see that you can have multiple scripts here. If you want to delete it, you just highlight this little trash can and delete it, and it'll ask you, and you go ahead. What's important to know is that when you make changes or when you write scripts that are associated to tables, because you're so kind of down in the guts of the application, that script will get run immediately. So there's not a stage gate that you have to go through to say, okay, I've written my script, and now I want to publish it type thing. It's as soon as you hit save, it's published. So if I make any changes to the script and then I hit save, then that script is saved and being executed immediately. All right, so let's keep moving on. So what do errors look like? When you're writing, if you're at all like me, learning a new language, you're going to make lots of errors. And so I wanted to give you a sense of what they look like and how you debug them. So there's three kinds of errors. You've got programming errors when you're writing the actual script, and then I'll show you what an error looks like to an end user if they run into an issue that the script that we didn't catch in our syntax highlighting in the IDE, and then how to debug it. So the programming errors, pretty straightforward. If you make a mistake in the code and the system recognizes that, then you'll get that big red block down at the bottom of the screen where you can just kind of parse that error message and fix it. It tells you what line the problem's at, et cetera, and so you can quickly and easily navigate to the part that's broken and fix it. And then the second is if you have, so let's say that your code is perfect and you've fat-fingered the name of a column, right, in a table or something along those lines in your script. We wouldn't necessarily catch that in our error checking, but your users will. So as soon as this record was saved, the user got this little yellow toaster, orange toaster at the bottom lower right-hand corner of the screen. I'll give you a closer look at what that looks like. And what's important to note is that, because this is a transaction on the database, we do not allow anything to be written to the database when there's an error, because we don't want to give you a bunch of dirty data. So it's important to make sure that your application scripts are working well before you release them to your end users. But what's important to note for your end users is that there's enough information here to set you off on figuring out what the problem was. In this case, you can say that, reading the error log, it says, or reading the error message, it says execution of the user script for table A.projects failed. And so if your end user calls you up as an admin and says, hey, I've run into this issue on this table, then it's pretty easy to debug. And so then once you are starting to debug, if you've gotten that call from that end user, there's a error log that's associated with the script editor that will allow you to get more detail about what happened and how to fix it. I think I've got an example of that. So yeah, back on my script editor for the demo app that we were looking at earlier, if I just click over here to the error log is right next to the script editor. You can see that I've generated a few errors putting the script together. I've also got some logging information. So as I was putting it together, I you can write messages into the log files just so that you know what value it is, what variable value you're passing along or whatever. And so I've got that as well as my errors, and that's in the log level you'll see on the left-hand side. But for the example that we just saw, it was the update script, and the error is that there was some issue with line 1, column 8. There was a bad piece of code that I had to fix, and so I was able to, when I saw that error in executing the form, I just came back here to the error log, read the error, and then I fixed it within the script editor. So pretty straightforward. Lots to learn though in terms of what you can do with this powerful language. And so I think I've got another slide here that talks about more resources. Yeah, so the AppScripts documentation lives on developer.trackvia.com, and I think I'm not sure if we have some on the knowledge base at help.trackvia.com or not. I think it's more of a developer tool, so most of the information is over there. And then there's also a link here to the Groovy Lang website, which talks about Groovy language. So that's a pretty high-level overview. Hopefully it's giving you enough information to get started. So I've got a couple of questions that just came in, so I want to answer those, and then I'll let you all go. So the first question is, oh, yeah, of course, I don't see the link. If you are, if you have not, look into your account and go to your table builder, it should be the application script link should be on any table that you edit. If it's not there, it means it's not turned on for your account, and so you just need to call support or call your account exec and have it turned on. When it's turned on for your entire account. It's not per app. So it's just on and there for you to use. Next question, that's a good one, dovetails into the first. Is it included in my package? Yes, it is included in all packages. So if you don't see it, just call us up and let us know, and we'll turn it on for you. Yeah, good question. Is Groovy hard to learn? Well, as a non-programmer myself, it took a little bit of energy to figure out, but what I was able to do quickly is go to developer.trackvia.com. Actually, let me just show you what that looks like. And there's a bunch of examples. Here's the web page, and it's got some language around the functions, etc., line variables. But then there's these examples at the bottom of the page where you can just copy and paste. Current values of status is active, and I'm going to change it to something else, right? So if you want an easy way to get started, I would just grab some of these sample lines of code and throw them into your own application scripts and test it out. Great. I think that's all we have for today. So I want to thank you all for joining and attending this webinar again. We're doing this every 2 weeks. TrackVia.com/webinar if you want to get some heads up on what's coming next or access to any other recorded webinars. And thank you for your time.